When Aisha fell in love with Samir, she believed love was supposed to feel safe. Not loud all the time, not dramatic, but steady like something that would never disappear if you stopped looking at it for a moment. In the beginning, Samir made her feel exactly that way. He listened carefully, laughed easily, and remembered things that mattered to her. He used to text her good morning before she woke up and call her late at night just to hear her voice. They grew together. College struggles, first jobs, financial stress, family expectations, everything felt easier because they faced it side by side. When they moved into their apartment, Aisha stood in the empty living room and imagined their future filling every corner of the space. Samir hugged her from behind and promised, "We're building something real." She believed him, but time has a quiet way of changing things without asking permission. Samir's career started demanding more from him. Meetings ran late, work calls followed him home. His phone became an extension of his hand. Aisha tried to be understanding. She told herself ambition was attractive, that sacrifices were temporary. Still, nights grew longer. Conversations grew shorter. She would cook dinner and wait. Sometimes the food went cold, sometimes she ate alone. Samir always apologized, but apologies without change slowly lose meaning. "Just a few more weeks," he'd say. "You know how work is," he'd add. At first she talked about how it made her feel. Then she noticed his eyes drifting away while she spoke. He nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. "You overthink too much," he said once, lightly but firmly. "You should be stronger than this," he said another time. Those words stayed with her. Aisha started censoring herself. She stopped talking about her fears. She stopped sharing small joys too. It hurt less to say nothing than to feel dismissed. One night, after waiting past midnight, she fell asleep on the couch. Samir came home quietly, stepping over her bag, barely glancing at her curled-up figure. When she woke up later and walked into the bedroom, he was already asleep, phone glowing beside him with unread messages she had sent hours ago. She lay next to him, staring at the ceiling, feeling more alone than she had ever felt in her life. The moment that truly broke something inside her came unexpectedly. Samir was on a call in the living room. Aisha stood in the hallway, unseen. "I don't have time for emotional drama," Samir said sharply. "She takes everything personally." "I'm exhausted." Aisha felt her chest tighten. She walked back to the bedroom quietly, her hands trembling. That night she didn't cry. She didn't confront him. She just lay there, realizing something terrifying. She wasn't asking for too much. She was asking the wrong person. And that realization marked the beginning of the end, though she didn't know it yet. Arham had always been part of Samir's world, his best friend since college, the one who knew all his secrets, all his flaws. Arham was different from Samir, calmer, quieter, observant. He spoke less, but noticed more. Aisha had never thought much about him beyond polite conversations in group settings. Until that one evening, they were supposed to meet as a group at a cafe. Samir arrived late, as usual, already distracted by work calls. Aisha sat quietly, stirring her coffee, forcing a smile. Arham noticed. "You seem tired," he said gently. "I'm fine," she replied automatically. Arham didn't push. He just nodded and said, "If you ever need space, it's okay to take it." Later that night, after Aisha left early, Arham messaged her. "Did you reach home safely?" It was a small thing, but small things mattered when you hadn't felt noticed in a long time. Their conversations started casually. Complaints about work, jokes about Samir's stubborn nature, memories from college days. Nothing inappropriate, nothing intentional, but Arham listened. When Aisha spoke, he didn't interrupt. He didn't try to fix her problems. He didn't tell her she was overreacting. He just listened on. That felt dangerously comforting. One night, after Samir dismissed her feelings again, Aisha sent a message she hadn't planned. "I feel invisible," she typed. Arham replied almost immediately. "That feeling can destroy you if you ignore it," he wrote. "You deserve to be seen." Her eyes filled with tears. She didn't fall for Arham, not like that. But she leaned on him emotionally, and emotional leaning can be just as dangerous. Samir noticed the change in her. He noticed she smiled at her phone sometimes. He assumed she was distracted. He didn't ask questions, and in that silence, something began to grow quietly between Aisha and Arham, something neither of them wanted, but neither of them stopped. The line was crossed without a kiss, without a touch. It happened on a night when Samir canceled dinner again. Aisha sat alone, staring at the dark window, feeling numb. Arham called. "Can I come by?" he asked hesitantly. "Only if it's okay." She hesitated. She knew it wasn't right, but she also knew she didn't want to be alone. They sat far apart. The conversation was quiet at first. Then, Aisha broke. "I keep trying," she whispered, "but it feels like I'm begging to matter." Arham listened, his face heavy with guilt. "You deserve someone who hears you," he said softly. That sentence changed everything. From that moment, Aisha stopped sharing her pain with Samir, not to punish him but because she no longer believed he cared. Arham tried to pull away. He suggested boundaries, distance, but emotions don't obey logic. Samir noticed the distance and accused her of not caring. "I cared until it stopped hurting you," she replied quietly. Neither of them realized how close everything was to collapse. Samir felt the shift before he understood it. Aisha stopped arguing, stopped complaining, stopped asking where he was going. That terrified him more than anger ever could. He checked her phone one night. Nothing obvious, no flirting, no proof. But emotional betrayal leaves no fingerprints. Arham avoided Samir now. Aisha avoided eye contact. One night, Samir overheard Aisha whispering on the phone. "You're the only one who understands," she said softly. Samir felt his world tilt. He waited, and waiting only made it worse. "Is there someone else?" Samir asked calmly, though his hands were shaking. Aisha didn't answer immediately. She looked at the floor. That silence shattered him. "I never planned this," she said. "I just needed someone to listen." Samir felt anger, guilt, and fear collide. "Who?" he asked. She didn't say the name. She didn't need to. Samir confronted them both. Voices rose. Accusations exploded. Samir expected denial, apologies. Instead, Aisha looked him in the eyes and said calmly, "Your best friend knows me better than you ever tried to." The silence was unbearable. Arham admitted the emotional truth without excuses. Samir realized neglect had consequences. Aisha moved out quietly. Arham cut contact completely. Samir sat alone with memories, every ignored message, every dismissed feeling. He finally understood, but understanding came too late. Their final meeting was calm. No anger, just truth. "I needed you," Aisha said. "You weren't there." Samir apologized sincerely. She forgave him, but she didn't stay, because some lessons cost everything, and some reactions are priceless but permanent.